Hi, guys. Welcome to Habit Hacking Weekly. So, I do this every Thursday at noon. Really, just in the best interest of time. I go live here on Instagram and here just recording via Zoom. I'll upload this later to YouTube to really just break down what we talked about this week on the Self Transform podcast. So if we haven't met yet, hello, I am Emily. I'm a habit and fitness coach, and I really focus on helping busy working moms habit hack their health in less time and guilt free. So let's talk about our episodes this week. Earlier in the week, we had episode 192, where we talked about capacity habits. So are you at your max capacity right now? You might be like, yes, it is full. I got nowhere else to go. So the actual definition of capacity is the maximum amount that something can contain or the amount that something can produce. So for me, thinking about this and the audience that I serve, how much more can we hold in our heads, right? There's so much clutter going on, but how much can we produce? How much more can we give of ourselves when we are just at our capacity and our loved ones aren't getting the best of us? And there's just only so much we can take on and only so much effort we can give because there's such an invisible load that we carry, right? Now, your capacity can change over time based on your priorities, your season of life that you're in. But, if I think back to my kids as newborns and now they're 15, almost 15 and 11, their needs are a lot different now. My capacity has slowly increased. It doesn't mean it's gotten easier, but we've persisted, right? We've learned and made mistakes along the way in order to figure out what our capacity is or is not for right now in this season of life that we're in. And everyone's capacity is different. My own capacity for my health has shifted over the years, and not because, again, it's easier now. It's because of what I have learned. I have learned that how it makes me feel lets me steward myself as the best wife, mom, coach that I can be. So, I only teach on 3 fundamental needs. That's movement, mindset, and food freedom. There's a bunch of different things, habits that fall under those needs. But when we think of capacity habits, it's what can you do when you feel like you have nothing left to give? Because if you're like, man, I want to take care of my health, and you're like, gosh, even that feels really overwhelming, you can do the tiniest little things, and a couple of habit hacks for you around this. So maybe you're thinking, I don't have time, or you don't have time or energy for a workout. Well, a way to stack movement into your day is squat every time like you go pee. Like literally go do 10 squats after you go potty, wash your hands. If you pee 10 times a day, if you got a new Stanley cup like I did for Christmas, you're very hydrated, you're going to the bathroom a lot. That could be like 100 plus squats a day. That feels a lot more doable. Or maybe you don't have the time or energy to meal prep. So while you're packing your kids' lunch in the morning, throw something in the slow cooker. Oh, it could be simple as like chicken breast you just throw in there for the day, and you can make something up as the day goes along. I teach on something called ingredient meals to make this super easy for you and less overwhelming and not giving you as much of that decision fatigue, right? And then lastly, maybe you don't have time or energy to work on your own mindset. This is where I personally struggle the most. And maybe while you wash your face at night or brush your teeth every night, that's a habit, part of your nighttime routine that you do without even thinking about it. Maybe while you're doing that, you stack on top of that saying 3 things that you're really grateful for the day. Those seem really small, but a lot of times as women, of course, we have to do habits differently. These tiny habits add up over nothing. Something tiny is better than nothing. We have to lose that all or nothing mentality, right? So if you want to learn a little bit more about how women have to do habits differently, make sure to go check out my super secret podcast. It's a short series called Atomic Habits for Women. You can find it at the link below or bit.ly/Atomic Habits for Women to learn about why we do habits differently and how to make habit strategy work for you. And then today we dropped a new habit hack episode. We do this every Thursday where we just share something really simple around movement, food freedom, or mindset. And today is focused on food freedom. I'm sharing 5 tips to help you eat like you love yourself. So I share this a ton. When I think about my own definition of food freedom, for me, it's being able to go and have tacos and margaritas with my friends and have no guilt or shame around that. I don't drink a whole pitcher of margaritas anymore because I know I'm going to feel not so great the next day or probably for about 48 hours afterwards. But I've learned, food is no longer good or bad, and I'm no longer good or bad based on the decisions that I make. And if something doesn't make me feel so great, okay, then I live with that and I move on from it. So I share 5 tips. Your biggest one I want you to take, though, away is that food is no longer good or bad. Food has no morality. Your goodness, badness, whatever, there is no such thing tied to that through your food. As women, we do tend to emotionally eat. Men, sometimes you do it too, but not as much as we do. It's just the way we're hormonally wired, if you will. I share a little bit more about the reasons behind that on the podcast today. But when we eat like we love ourselves, we're losing that guilt and shame and that we're good or bad based on what we eat. Does that happen over time? No. Or overnight? No. A lot of times we have a lot of diet culture BS, if you will, built up from our childhood, from what we've been exposed to, what we see on social media. And that takes a lot longer to overcome when it comes to our food. So make sure to go listen today to Self Transform for both of those episodes. You can find them on your favorite podcast streaming service. And y'all, I'm almost to 100 reviews on iTunes. So if you listen to the show every week, I would love it if you would leave me a quick review. It also helps more women find the show, but at the same time, it also lets me know what you're loving so I can bring you more content around habit hacking your health. Okay, so I hope this was a great breakdown. I hope maybe just hearing the messaging again, maybe you hear it a little differently today if you've listened to the show earlier in the week. I know sometimes I have to hear something a couple of times for it to finally sink in my brain because, we have all these tabs open in our head, or maybe I just wasn't at the place to receive that message. So I hope you're receiving that message today to do the tiny habits, capacity habits, and eat like you love yourself. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next week for Habit Hacking Weekly.